Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning, everybody. Oh, you know what? I totally screwed up. I don't have the light on. That's better. Okay. So, anyways, today is a very exciting day because not only is today the FOMC meeting, but I finally got my third monitor. Let me show you. I'll show you. It's a little overwhelming. I can show you here. So now we've got, this is one you're sitting on. Now we've got these two 27-inch monitors. I didn't get quite as good of a deal on that one as the first one, but I still got more than half off of it, buying it on the secondary market. I'm not quite sure why the guy wanted to get rid of it so quickly, but I got a good deal, so I'm happy. I have over here, oh my, well, that's not quite right, is it? We won't fix that. We gotta fix that. Let's see here. How do we do this? Oh man, it's bigger resolution. Doesn't fit right. We gotta fix it. All right. Did that fix it? All right. Sweet. So hopefully that looks good. Yeah, I only have 6 charts on here, but now that it's so huge, I could realistically put 12 on there and be fine. I don't know if I need 12. To be honest, I don't know if I need these 3 over here because I've got these ones that I've been showing on my main screen. So, but anyways, it's quite nice to be able to see the volume profile on the big thing. Let's pull it up and make it all big. Oh, so beautiful. All right, so we're still trending up today. So remember, there was the whole repo thing going on yesterday. They're going to do it again. And then in the E-mini here, you can see we're slightly higher to flat, but we're not quite. We're still not to that 30-10-20, and probably our key level to beat here is probably still 30-10. I predict Algo Lover will come in here and his level in the ES will be 30-10 again. And ZN, it might be like 129.30. Like this, maybe somewhere around this point of control. And then here on the downside, 129.04 half. Now we got to be careful because, okay, second repo is now 8:15 to 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Really? So it's already going right now. Yeah. Well, now, so here's the thing about the repo is, as far as I can tell, the short-term impact on the treasuries is not significant. Doesn't appear to be significant, but I still think it's something that we need to keep an eye on. Because the whole thing is like banks aren't going to buy treasuries if they can't do their short-term financing, right? And when that finishes, the question is going to be how much did they sell in the repo? Yesterday it was less than they expected. They wanted to put 75 million and they only needed 53 million. But it seems to me, based on my understanding, this basically means that banks don't have as many assets out there to lend to each other to do their overnight financing. And that means that somebody or a group of somebodies got really, really screwed in this most recent market action. I was looking at the different components of the XLF and all of this, looking to see if maybe there was a lagger or anything like that. And I couldn't see anything that obviously stood out. Although that group overall did appear to underperform. So, the short-term trade might be there, figuring out who got hurt, because I don't think that the market has fully priced it in yet. So there's that. There's that part of it. I think that the effect that it has on the market is probably going to be similar to the auction, except for it's just less because it's smaller notes, right? More short-term notes. So it probably shouldn't affect us too much in the short term, but in the long term, this continues. This could be significant, and that would push up the treasuries in general, I believe. So that's kind of how I'm playing it. For FOMC, I think that this repo thing also means they're more likely than they were before, at least, to do some sort of quantitative easing, if that makes sense. So, not that they will announce quantitative easing today, but they may have discussed it. So, I'm thinking if I was, going to make a bet, then I would have to bet on higher after the FOMC. Now, the caveat to that is that Powell just seems to keep disappointing the market over and over again with what he says. So I wouldn't put my money on it or anything. All right. Drake says there's 8:30 housing. We also get crude oil today. Oh, yes, you're right. Here in 4 minutes, building permits and housing starts. We're looking for a reading of 1.31 million versus a previous reading of 1.32 million. And the housing starts, we're looking for a reading of 1.25 million versus a reading of 1.19 million before. Okay. So just kind of note that in the back of my head. Let's pull up here. Discord. Oh, we need to open this. Let's move this over here. This one we don't need. This over here. And this over here. What was your opinion to the 50 basis point move in the 10-year last week? Gary Rich. Hey, thank you. By the way, hold on a second. That's a new name, so thank you for joining us and asking questions. So I had been feeling for a long time that we were a little bit overextended, that we were too high, and as soon as the trade war risk came out of the market, we just plummeted. So I think that it was a reasonable move in that respect. Obviously, it was a huge move, and I did pretty okay on it. Obviously, that's a lot of interest rate shock to the market, so that's not cool. But judging from looking at the way the E-minis are trading and everything, it seems like they're okay with it. Before, it was like when the interest rates started going up, we started to get this time period where the equities were like incredibly sensitive to it. Now it's a little bit better. However, something I'm really, really watching is the banks. Particularly my Goldman Sachs is kind of the one that I like to use as a bellwether, although maybe we should use JP Morgan. They appear to be doing the best right now. But I work for Goldman, so I watch them because I understand them better. And I would say around 225 seems to be the resistance area, and they seem to be shying away from that level. So even though we had this huge move down in the treasuries, if something happened, China trade war, the deal with China falls apart, we could move right back up to where we were. If the war with Iran starts, we could move right back up to where we were. You know, we're in a really precarious spot. I mean, it was a good trend. There could probably be more downside, but it could completely reverse on us here right now too. And it just kind of depends on what happens, I think. So I hope there was probably a more thorough answer to your question than you were expecting, but that's kind of my perspective on it right now. Today, um, I think I'm kind of favoring the upside, but just watching it here these past 10 minutes. So there's the news. Let's see what we got. Canadian CPI was negative spot 1 versus an expected negative spot 2. Not giving me the number quite yet. Building permits 1 spot 42 million versus 1 spot 31. That's really good. It's pretty good. Pretty good. And the housing
YouTube,
starts.
Gary Rich, do you watch the Eurodollar futures spread symbol, GE?
Housing starts 1 spot 36 versus 1 spot 25. So I personally do not watch the Eurodollar too much, and to be honest, I do not understand a whole lot about it other than that it's, roughly correlated to the interest rates and kind of moves according to that. Now, if you go into the Discord, there's a number of people that have been watching and trading it. I personally don't understand how you trade that thing, but some people do appear to do it, and it sounds like that they do okay on it. So, is that what you trade? Do you trade that? I would like to know more about it, but the problem that I've always had, I'll try and show you here. I'll try and pull it up. Okay. So it's GE, right? Eurodollar futures. And we want December, I think. Well, let's just open up December. Okay. So you open it up, and this is what I get, right? So it's like, why am I only seeing liquidity every other price? You know? So it seems to me like it's like,
YouTube, Gary Rich, it's a good indication where rates are gonna be in the future, like June 2020 as example.
sure. But it just seems to me like some of these more exotic instruments that Jigsaw doesn't necessarily read properly. I'm not so sure that Jigsaw is the right thing to use to trade Eurodollar futures anyways. So that's kind of why I've never really paid attention to it. The 2-year kind of does the same thing, by the way. Or it was. Maybe if I re-downloaded the instruments and reset everything, maybe they fixed it. But people in the our video on trading software, somebody mentioned that. And they're right. Okay. New York Fed takes 75 billion of Treasury securities in repo operation.
YouTube, Gary Rich, true.
Zero Hedge reads that as that the problem is getting worse. I'm not so sure. I'm wondering. Why is it getting worse? I don't think that it's getting worse. I think that probably more people said, well, if they're going to do it, I might as well take advantage of it. Is might be what's going on there. Cuz that's just more cheap financing, right? I don't know if that's a big deal. In fact, I'm going to respond to him and ask the question, and maybe we'll see if anybody else sees it that way or not. So I got this thing with my keyboard where I'll be like typing something and I'll like get double letters. And I'm starting to think like, is it because my keyboard is going out? Or is it because I'm just being too soft with my typing and if I kind of here, I'll bring it over here, yeah. Okay, there's a click, click, click. See, I can get it to do it multiple. Yeah, maybe that's what's happening because I'm not striking it right. And the keyboard is designed to be able to press multiple keys, and maybe it just has to do with the way I'm typing or something. I feel like, though, that I should get a new keyboard. Okay, well, the news pushed us down. We're retracing it a little bit. I haven't seen a massive imbalance, and when I do see them come in, they're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I cannot read anything into that. There were 80 billion in bids for 75 billion in accepted repos. The liquidity shortage getting worse. I don't know if it's getting worse. You got to remember that zero hedge always thinks that the world is coming to an end, right? That's their shtick. And I've always thought that maybe they were just really, what is the word? Just really biased and negative. And now I'm starting to think that they intentionally do that. That they're intentionally negative because it gets some more hits. Bill Blue Line joined CNBC closing bell yesterday to talk Treasuries ahead of the Fed.
YouTube, Gary Rich,
where I
the
want to
data
be
is
a
coming
buyer.
in soft, and ISM PMI have hit levels of capitulation to put risk partly on. Momentum strategies are taking losses week on week.
PMI have hit levels of capitulation to put risk partly on. So I think what you mean by that is that some of the manufacturing data that we've been getting has been okay, right? And generally speaking, the stock market has been moving up, but the momentum stocks were not the ones that went. It was the value stocks this time. There was this huge switch in the market. So that might be why some of the banks are taking losses. It could be the VAR shock from interest rates rising 50 basis points in a week. It could be oil. I don't know. The thing is if we knew who was having trouble getting financing, and of course they're not going to tell us, but if we knew who it was, that would give us a much better idea of what the move in the market that is causing this and what we should watch for.
YouTube, Gary Rich, yes, the Momo versus value.
Yeah, the Momo versus value. It's kind of interesting because I've never seen this kind of a switch. Like, to me, well, I don't know. It's just that kind of, what is the word? Those two things to me just don't seem mutually exclusive, But apparently that's not how asset managers look at it. Zero Hedge states housing starts and permits explode higher in August, led by multifamily. Ooh, interesting. So that means that the numbers aren't necessarily as good as you would think, because that means that people aren't buying houses but instead rich people are buying up duplexes, which I would really like to get a duplex. And with the rates that were that low, I'm sure a lot of people took advantage of it. I was looking at it, and then last week happened, and I was like, fine, fine, do something else with my money. Kamala Harris still having some trouble in polling. I really think, I don't know which one it's going to be, but I still believe at some point that either Pete Buttigieg or Kamala Harris will see a bump. I just don't think that the Biden, Warren, Sanders thing is
YouTube,
going to
Gary
last.
Rich. It appears a rotation into hunt for yield due to Fed rate cut cycle. With these low 30 years, it allows for financing or refi.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that the value rotation is maybe something a little bit different, though, because I don't, if this continues, the interest rates aren't going to stay low. They're going to go back up potentially, especially if we actually ever do get a trade deal with China. So I think it's something more. I think that because of the quantitative easing and all of these other things, people have just been pumping money into the markets, and that's a large part of why they've moved the way that they have for the past 10 years. And now, especially as of late, there's a lot of stocks that are underpriced, and I think that they're just kind of going for it. Now Pelosi finally says, no, we're not wasting time on impeaching Kavanaugh. Okay. Wasting, it's kind of funny to me. It's like, yeah, it would be a waste of time, but like, what else are they going to spend their time on? They don't actually do anything over there in the House. You thought that Congress couldn't get any more useless. But then you put Democrats in charge, and oh, were we wrong? What's this say? Anthony Crudeli is retweeting. There's a conundrum in human performance that mostly goes unaddressed in the conventional wisdom. The human unconscious is a real thing. It often thinks and feels in ways opposite of the conscious. Essentially, everyone can get better by making conscious thoughts and feelings conscious. But how? Being open and identifying your own resistances to new perspectives, putting feelings into words, listening to the feelings in your dreams, making the conflict over success versus guilt, fear, family, friend, revenge explicit. Your cognitive powers
YouTube,
to
Gary
manipulate.
Rich. The negative yield around the world, strong dollar, our MKTS will catch a bid in bonds, S&P, for the foreseeable future.
Your cognitive powers to manipulate your unconscious are often insufficient. Your cognitive powers to use a better approach, however, are not. Interesting. I mean, I don't know if bonds catch a bid. If bonds catch a bid, I think that it will have more to do with fundamental weaknesses, like like this whole thing, like bonds yields are still negative in Europe, and there's still reason for Europeans to be coming over here and buying our stuff, right? But we still fell super hard. And I think it's largely because the world economy has been held back by this trade war stuff. If they get a deal, then heck, it is game on. And all of these people have been holding back this investment for all this time. They're just going to unleash it. So you're going to see a strong. Oh, I never reinstalled the Windows 10 update. Well, let's do it later. Do it after we stream. Okay. Anyways, what was I saying? Keep interrupting. Yeah, anyways, there's still reason for the Europeans to be buying our treasuries, but we still fell super hard. In fact, one might argue that because we were overbought because of the Europeans coming over looking for yield, that maybe made it worse. So, if the China thing goes on, that would unleash so much investment. Then I think that bonds are super high. And here's another thought. If we extrapolate it out further, okay, once Donald Trump gets a deal with China, yeah, what's he gonna do? Huh? He's gonna be looking over there at Germany and being, okay, your turn. Come on, Angela. Let's get it done. Right? So, you could see a real risk on trade without that unwinding for Europe, right? In the short term, though, I still really think that this repo thing makes me think that we could move a little bit higher, that we could retrace a
YouTube,
little
Gary
bit of that
Rich.
move.
Yes, you're correct. The tariffs are affecting future returns for the world.
Totally. Or at least it's delaying investment. What's the quote in here from Rand Squawk? Lots of questions, but a little bit too much in detail, and super tiny letters. So, as a reminder, John Williams, Lori Logan, and Michael Strine are all in the Marner Eccles building today, so nobody is manning the New York Fed trading desk. Okay. Well, I'm seeing something possibly happening here. Notice all of these offers kind of flickering around. They might be buying it here. Honestly, though, the first 30 minutes of action has not been terribly encouraging. Oh, I didn't even notice the Bitcoin thing. They fell hard. An oversubscribed repo, just like an oversubscribed discount window use, is not a good thing. I don't know. I think Zero Hedge is making too much of it. So who didn't get $5 billion in liquidity they told the Fed they needed? Just because somebody put a bid in doesn't mean that they needed it. It might just mean that they thought that, that extra money would be great. So you go in and you put the discount window up. Well, let's call it the discount window. I know that they're different things, but you go and you put the discount window up. People come and use it. Cool. Come back the next day, more people come and use it. That's not necessarily like, oh, there's a huge problem. That just means that like everybody heard about it. And not everybody that comes and uses it was like in dire straits, So one data point does not a market crash make. Ran Squawk retweeting him. I think they're making too much of it. But it's probably going to scare a few people. Highest employment level ever recorded in the Euro area and the EU the second quarter of 2019. Germany extends ban on arms exports to Saudi Arabia. German government says extends halt on arms export to Saudi Arabia by 6 months until March 31st, 2020. Not very many people tweet about the 10-year, do they? That's funny.
YouTube Ace Trades Morning.
Hey Ace, how's it going? Seeing anything? I was hoping. I was disappointed that I didn't catch anything in the E-mini yesterday, and I was hoping, hey, maybe we could take one today. But the Treasury market seems really dead and doesn't seem like a very good opportunity out there at the moment. They're buying the E-mini. So there's that. But well,
YouTube Gary Rich. It looks when IOER falls under Fed rate liquidity is tight. Banks are cautious to lend to each other.
right. Well, I mean, it's not just that. Like, so they were saying that like a confluence of things were affecting everything, right? That like, for instance, everybody had to put in their taxes for the end of the quarter. And so they had to use some of their liquidity for that and things like that. So it was like they needed a lot of liquidity anyways. But then you had all of these moves in the market. So I kind of feel like I suspect at least that it's
YouTube
more
Ace
than
Trades
just,
possible short 3004.50.
I see the short, huh? Already through it. I definitely see the turn. I don't see the associated changes in level 2, though there was some big orders did come in. So it's doable. Watch it go. He's going to take it, and it's just going to run and run and run. I'm going to be like, why didn't I take it?
YouTube Ace Trades. Not sure how much it will give me.
know. Well, now something appears to be going on. I don't know. Treasuries kind of grinding around. They just instructed the Secretary of the Treasury to substantially increase sanctions on the country of Iran. What more can they do? Good grief.
YouTube, Greg Orlovsky, Trump tweet for more sanctions Iran.
Oh, yeah. just missed that. Some people saying that's macro risk premium will go down because that suggests that there's not going to be military action. I don't know about that. Saudi Arabia is promising that they have concrete evidence that Iran did the attack. That's going to be interesting. I think they have the technology to determine it. I don't know if I got enough sleep last night. It's not like I went to bed late or anything, but I feel a little sleepy. A little sleepy right now. Maybe I'm just so boring at the moment that I'm putting myself to sleep. Let's poke around the internet here. Okay. So we're starting to hear a couple of big orders doing
YouTube,
something.
IQ, yeah, they found an Iranian passport in the debris.
No. Well, the thing that the first thing was they released the satellite photos of the damage, right?
YouTube, Gary Rich, the war probabilities are low. We are war fatigued. Clear overreaction.
The attack appeared to be very precision for starters, okay? But they could also track, if it sounds like it was just missiles, they could just track where the missiles were launched from, and they're claiming that it came from Iran. We'll see if they can actually show that. But this is the thing that's...
YouTube, Gary Rich, lol.
Right. This is the thing with it, is that the whole conspiracy theory Russian bots thing, it's a real thing. I mean, I don't think that they were successful in their attempts to change the results of the U.S. election, okay? But they're out there on the internet trying to affect things, and they are, without question, messing around with this Iran thing. And so when you go to the places where those trolls tend to hang out, they're all trying to say that the Saudis did it themselves, that it was a false flag attack. And I just think that's so silly. So if they came out with some sort of evidence that proved that Iran did it, that all of the people on the internet are going to give us all of the reasons why they faked that evidence or that it's not real. And how can we know? You either trust what the picture the government sent you or not, How do you prove it? I don't know if there is a way at that point, And so I suspect that they're going to come out and say something, and then the internet's going to say, no, we shouldn't do it. But I'm just sitting here watching this and being like, I don't know any other way that this goes. Like, it seems to me like Iran wants us to attack them. Am I wrong? It seems to me like Iran wants us to
YouTube,
attack
Gary Rich. We are in a matrix of a matrix. LOL.
them. Right. Was the Matrix, you ever, the whole theory about that Zion was actually a part of the Matrix too, and that's how Neo had powers outside of the Matrix. I mean, it's an okay theory. It's an okay theory. Because otherwise, how are they supposed to do the continuation of the movies? How are they going to do that? We're going to find out that they were all in a matrix, within a matrix the whole time. That's their, and even if that wasn't what their original intention was, they can just retcon it, just like they do everything else, just like they do in Star Wars. Oh, those video games are not canon anymore. Hmm. I don't know. Like, we were down at 17. We had a pretty good six tick swing up, and then we came back down, started to see a little bit of an increase in volume, and then it kind of died down again. And in the E-mini, it did drop, but it didn't go very far. So this still kind of feels like they're not going to move, that they don't know what the FOMC is going to do. And so they're just hands off. Sometimes we've seen really strong trends on these days, but that would have started long before now. So if we get moving, it's more likely to be some sort of news. Yeah. They kind of look like they want to try and make that 22 half, 21 half. Yeah, they kind of think it kind of seems like they want to do it. But I don't see them putting risk on the table, so I hope that my yawning is not making you tired. Yeah, I'm doing good. Let's see if they try and push it out here. That may just be what it takes. And I mean, there was some action over there in the 30-year. And I suppose if they're gonna make that kind of move, they might want to try and push it in the 30-year. Feed me gives me a Pepe. Is that a Pepe face palming? I can't tell. I can't tell what it is. But thank you for joining us on DLive. I stream on multiple platforms. So anytime somebody comes in on one of the smaller platforms and says hi, I appreciate it. This could be a really, really boring morning session, guys. I hate to say. I hate to say it, but it could be a really boring morning session. Okay. 18 goes offer. Anybody? 17 half? Anybody? Anybody? 17 half? Yarn, yarn, yarn. Nobody yet. Well, 3 attempts to push it back up and it holds. Nope. And that time it stays for a little bit longer. Nobody traded 17 half. What's the matter, guys? You don't want to go short? I don't think I want to go short. Well, I don't think I want to take a trade at all, but if I was forced to take a trade, I think I would rather go long. Wouldn't like to do it up here, though. I think I'd probably rather do it at like 17. Well, 17 half would have been okay, right? Could have done it right there. Would have been maybe, you could maybe get 1 tick from it. Yeah. See, it just keeps coming. You know, yawns are like contagious, and I keep yawning, so I'm like, maybe it's the contagion. So like, can the yawn like cross, airwaves and borders? I'm yawning, you guys are yawning, and then I'm yawning again, even though I can't see you yawning. Somehow, we just know. Maybe not. Maybe that's dumb and not funny. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are like, yeah, nothing's happening.
YouTube, Gary Rich. With Fed and option expiration, it can be slow days this week.
Yeah, the options expiration. That's another really good point. Well, there was a big iceberg at 18.5 that they just took over. And they're trying to shove it. Maybe they make it through. It'd be really tough to buy 19, but I think you might be able to make a little bit off of it. Let's see. I have to see better than that to be willing to put my risk on, especially up at the high, but let's see. Well, they're holding an okay bid there. Hitting it. There you go. Somebody willing to hit back, though. But there was some stop orders there at 20. I'm thinking with my huge screen over here, maybe I should just like make these charts a little bit smaller and put like all of my tapes over here or something like that. Well, now there's quite a bit of volume trading back and forth at that spot. You buy it? You could have gotten at least one. I can hear music upstairs. Music upstairs at 7-Eleven in the morning is odd. I think that my wife is working today. But why would she be playing music like that? It sounds like almost like mariachi music, like this weird. Oh, back down. Did they just absorb the whole thing? Well, now they're trying to fight it at 18.5. They're trying to take 18.5 bid again, but they're having a hard time. Okay, well, they took it after all of that effort. You would think that they would put more than 400 on it? Okay, there you go. Been noting that the 10-year is lagging a little bit. Offer again. That must be a child because it's just playing over and over again. It's so weird. That must be Abby because only Abby would play something that loud. Oh my gosh, it's like the child is deaf. I don't know what the deal is. She turns every device as loud as it can go, like we all want to hear it or something. Well, it looks like that push up, they did try pushing it, but it might have just been a reversal like it usually is. And now it seems like they're pushing it the other way. Maybe they do the same thing the other way. Let's see. Or maybe they push it down this time. It's kind of like in this kind of action with it being so slow. And I can see at one point we were like 15, 19 people, I think. But I think a couple of people got bored. They're like, well, nothing's happening. I should go back to
YouTube
sleep.
Ace Trades can't even squeeze a point out of this trade.
Wow, you're still in it. Wow. Wait, you didn't even get a point? No, he didn't. Oh, man. You're going to take it off and then it's going to go. Isn't that how it always works? I'm probably jinxing it, saying things I shouldn't say things like that. Oh, you know what? I wanted to check something here. So if I come to my video here that we posted, and I want to post it in that Facebook group. Reach. External. Okay.
YouTube, Ace trades, it's okay, there are always other trades, and Jinx isn't a thing.
Jinx
Lol.
isn't a thing. Good deal. Okay, traffic source. External 40, but how many were actually from Facebook? Nada. YouTube 9, Google 1, Twitter 1. So I go in and I post in that Facebook group that about trading. Hey, what software do you trade? One person liked it. But according to my statistics, nobody actually watched the video. It seems to me like that group is basically just a bunch of people trying to scam each other. And that nobody actually like trades or does. You know what I mean? Because if it was like actual people, I would get traffic. Like if I went and I posted it to the subreddit, and I don't know if I want to do that at the moment. Although if somebody wants to submit it for me, that would be awesome. But it's always kind of frowned upon you submitting it yourself. So I'm kind of like, maybe I'll just wait. Time that one for, when there'd be a good one. Especially since, the thing with a video like that, which because it's like, what's the best futures trading software platform? Everybody loves their software. Come on. Very few people out there that absolutely hate what they're using. Usually spend a lot of thought and time on which platform you wanted, right?
YouTube, Ace trades, do you ever see my comments in that Facebook group?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always calling them out on their scams.
Actually, for some reason, Facebook notifies me when you post a comment in there. That's why I was thinking about it. This is like Ace will know what I'm talking about with that group. And yes, it's always the funniest things, man. It always makes me laugh because
YouTube, Ace trades, that's because we are bros.
Right. Thank you. You're right. It's just like it's always nonsense that people are posting. And I suspect that even the people that are posting trades that like, oh hey, I got this really good trade, I think that their scam is like, somebody will see it and then try and ask you, and then you try and run the scam on them like that. Because I'm just saying, anybody can go in. If you want to get a good looking trade in futures trading, you can totally make it happen, right? When somebody shows me a chart that's like, they took one trade and it was awesome, I'm like, sure, that was the only trade you took today. You just go in and reset your account every time, right? Until you catch a huge winner, and then you go, look, I'm a genius. RumbleTalk.net. That seems familiar, but where is that from? And why does it show up there even though it says that nobody actually used it? But you know what's nice about the video so far that I'm super proud of? I'll bring it over here.
YouTube, Gary Rich, many hate traders and blame others for their mistakes. We need a social media flak jacket, LOL.
Right. No, oh man, I don't know. It's just, I think that what happens is, here's what I think happens. Okay, in futures trading particularly. Okay, Um, you take a trade in futures trading, theoretically, you have a 50% chance of getting right. Well, that would maybe be true if the profit and stop that you are looking for are both lower than the average range. So, like for instance, what Ace does, he is looking to get 8 ticks, and then he'll let it run. That is, and he gets the skewed risk reward from having multiple contracts and letting the multiple contracts ride, right? But the average range in the E-mini is 12 ticks. So he's taking out noise many times.
YouTube, algo lover, GM winking face.
Okay. But who does that? Like here in the Treasuries, do we really look for 4 or less on all of our trades? I'm often looking for more than that. And so when you get all of these retail guys in, because of what their risk reward is, the chances of them being stopped out on their
YouTube,
trade is
algo
high.
lover, Tuesday, ZN 129, 215 is line in sand for sellers to halt this squeeze and turn the MKT or not. Still valid nerd face.
Yeah. I don't know if they're... So I was looking at 129.30. But 21.5 is also looks significant. There's this big order at 22.5. But you see there's this one up here at 29.
YouTube, algo lover, left this reminder on other vid, thumbs up.
Yeah, I did catch that. But it's just so slow right now. I don't know if they can make it. I mean, it looked like they were going for it, but then they just absorbed it and went the other way. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So the way that it goes is most retail people are going to get stopped out because it's going to move further than their stop, right? So you get all of these guys, they're trying to futures trade, and they're losing. And so then, yeah, they blame it on other people. They think that it's the market maker coming after them. Well, technically it is the market maker coming after them, but it's not because the market maker can see their orders or anything like that. They just know statistically what everybody's stop limit is and make sure that they move it further than that stop. Right? And if you increase it and everybody else increases it, then they just can take it further, basically. Anyways, I do think that goes. So then all of these people, they're not profitable and they can't figure it out. So then they say, well, I'm not making money. Maybe nobody is making money doing this. Well, or 90% of us aren't making money. So I should just make money on the other retail traders. And so then you get these things like this Facebook group where like nothing freaking happens. They're all just, trying to spam for themselves. Every once in a while there's a good thread about things, but most of the comments in those are like total nonsense. Anyways, so what I was going to show you with this coming over here was the thing that I'm proud of on this video is that it has almost a 10%, well, 9.1% click-through rate, which is almost twice what my other videos are. So I don't know if I just got like really good clickbait going here, but I'm super happy about that. And when you look at the overview, it was
YouTube, algo lover, Monday 12:11 p.m. They are setting the range. 3010 needs to go on the upside or 2983 on the downside to confirm direction. Above 3010 bullish, below 2983 anticipate deeper pullback. Nerd face remains valid.
Yeah. Buyers attempted a late test of 3010, but sellers have defended the range overnight. Yep. Anyways, you can see here, it was tracking okay when we first posted the link and everybody visited on that day. It was really good. Thank you, by the way. And good discussion on the thread too. and came up, and then I was kind of like, oh, it's not tracking as well. But then it was like the algorithms picked it up, and it's starting to trend higher. So
YouTube, Ace Trades
super
just came
excited.
back. Can't believe I'm still in this boring trade.
Still in it. Good grief. Well, you got 5 minutes. I mean, I guess you got a point, right? Just did 10K volume in 3 minutes in bun. Is that how those days fall out the sky start in the afternoon? The yield
YouTube,
curve.
Algo Lover, 9:07 a.m. Algo Lover, CL if sellers hold a bounce below 58.75, then 57.60 target, a bit above 58.75 before trading down, may trigger squeeze higher nerd face.
Alligator says weird action indeed.
YouTube, Ace Trades, no, it never even gave me a point. 3 ticks, wish I had taken them.
Three ticks. 3 ticks, and I wish that I had taken them. Wow. But they're saying that the Bund is doing something. Just Being Me in Discord is saying that he saw clips well over 300 across 5 prices in the Bund, which is pretty significant over there. Remember that the Bund is priced differently, so that it moves. It's a little bit more volatile. It has more prices to move.
Twitch, NullMonkey0, let's do it.
No rate cut.
Twitch, NullMonkey0, risk on.
I think it would be super. I mean, the market is saying there's like an 80% chance that there's going to be a rate cut, right? I think it's 80% chance. If they don't cut, that would be crazy.
Twitch, NullMonkey0, no, it's not.
It's not? Okay, let's go. Let's go look. Today is one of the most unclear FOMCs I've lived.
Twitch,
Seems more and more
NullMonkey0,
players are in doubt.
48% yesterday.
48%. Well, but I think okay, let's check it. I think it's more complicated than that.
YouTube, Algo Lover, hands and feet inside ride at all times today, HAGD. Thumbs up. Twitch, NullMonkey0, too soon to expiration.
Yeah, before that he said hard to look at it today and get an accurate gauge. I need to go and
YouTube,
and
Ace Trades, 2 min to cash open.
The Q thing. Maybe I can do that today, but I don't know. After the FOMC, it's going to be what am I going to do? It's going to be weird. Okay, so here I'm seeing the September meeting.
Twitch, NullMonkey0, what's more important, see the presser.
So they're saying 30% chance that it
YouTube,
stays
Gary
the same.
Rich, 50% of no cut.
This says 30% it stays the same, and 70% that they cut it a quarter of a point. Am I reading that wrong? Is that changed from yesterday? Did something happen? December pricing for rate cuts have gone down drastically in the last couple of weeks. Okay, so let's go to December, because you're probably right. Okay. So December, they're saying 50% chance that
Twitch,
they've cut it at least once.
NullMonkey0, yes, yesterday rate cut was priced as 48%.
Yeah, but if you're looking at December, that's a little bit different of a thing, right? Because they're saying, okay, they're almost definitely going to cut it once, but then they might have to cut it 2 or 3 more times. And so then there's the probabilities for that. Okay, here comes the E-mini open. I thought for a second, I was like, oh, did I miss some news? Okay, well, so for this meeting, they're saying it's a 70% chance that they're going to cut. So this is, it was like Alligator was saying, it's kind of funny. Like, this is the most unclear FOMC I think I've ever seen, and Alligator says he's ever seen.
YouTube, Algo Lover, no matter, S playing field set 30102983, one needs to go bye-bye okay hand.
Yeah. Hey, Ace, did you get out of that trade, or did you just get a good little down move there? A good down move there on the open. Anyways.
YouTube, Ace trades, still in.
Good deal. The most unclear FOMC I've ever seen is still a 70% chance that they're going to cut. Right? So I think extremely unlikely that they're not going to cut. But it's all of the other things. You know, do people dissent? How do they change the language? Did they say anything about the repo? Did they say anything about quantitative easing? You know, those are the things where it could be. Who knows? Hit big or miss big says potentially a real long debate because I find current narrative to take at face value. Hard to take at face value, I think is what he meant. Alligator says, in my opinion, U.S. wants to implement more sanctions, but this time
YouTube, Algo Lover, if
UNO.
129, 215 does not hold offers, then anticipate higher nerd face.
Well, I mean, if we're going to try and trade 21.5, I think I would want to buy it, but I just don't think it's worth putting any risk on at the moment. This is kind of my thing.
Twitch, Null Monkey 0, nope.
Yeah, you agree that it's not worth putting risk on?
Twitch, Null Monkey 0, you are right, no point in betting on something you don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that as of late, Algo Lover's levels have been pretty prescient, but I'm just not seeing any kind of move in the order flow that makes me think that we would really make that push. And if we did, I mean, man, if we traded 21.5, I'd say that there's a really good chance that they would try pushing further. But given that it's FOMC day and like it doesn't seem like people want to put risk on right now, that's why I have a hard time seeing it trade yet.
YouTube, Algo Lover, as always, just sharing the level, not giving advice okay hand.
Yeah. Could see placeholder to full scale war.
Twitch, Null Monkey 0, have a good day, I'm gonna chill.
All right, I'll catch you later, dude. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, and Trump picks Robert O'Brien as new national security advisor, somebody I've never heard of before. Currently serving as a very successful presidential envoy for hostage affairs at the State Department. Oh, okay. So he probably knows him very well, because they've gotten a couple of hostages freed and stuff. Well, that sounds like an interesting pick. I want to see how that turns out.
YouTube, Gary Rich, VIX in tight contango, puts are expensive for protection.
Also, it kind of feels like that this, move up to 19.5 is due in part to the E-mini selling. I can see some offers building up behind them as they move down. Yeah. Let's make that E-mini a little bit bigger. Wars are expensive and do not see this as beneficial politically to anyone in the United States. Wow, FedEx shares slumped 12%. And the effective Fed funds rate breaches top of range again. Which is interesting because we've moved a few ticks up, but
YouTube Ace trades well. She was a pain in the butt to hold, but so far it's paid off. Ace straight 5 points.
Yeah, that's really good. And it's not
YouTube algo lover ZN. We'll see who's who shortly. Face with rolling eyes.
They're going there to 20. They are testing the top of it now. So the thing I'm noticing in the E-mini, yesterday they had a sell kind of like this. It was actually, in terms of contracts, it was actually a harder sell yesterday. But that one almost completely reverted, almost immediately. This one, they're kind of getting a little bit of a breather, and it's looking like that they might try pushing it further down. I don't know if they're going to or not, but they want R2.
YouTube algo lover gotta run thumbs up. YouTube Gary Rich. Here we go. FedEx indicator.
FedEx an indicator? I don't know. I don't know what was the reason for the slump. I read that story. I saw that headline on CNBC, but I didn't pay attention to it. Gotta run. What could be more important than this room, right? Well, apparently Algo Lover shares his levels with everybody. I don't know why he does that. Kind of makes me a little skeptical, but whatever. He's given us some okay levels. There was 87.85 there at that 20. And by the way, here at 20, they're still pushing it. Yeah.
YouTube Ace trades by signal at 3000.25, so going to take most of the contracts off.
I'm going to try taking it. Oh, wrong order type. I don't think I'm going to get filled. Okay. That iceberg there at 20 that they came through and they're not pushing back up again. So if 19 half goes offer, that would kind of seem to me like a pretty decent failure. Okay. So they took it bid again. Let's get these aligned here correctly, huh? There we go. Seems like in the treasuries that there are people taking bets both ways here in this spot. What? What? I have... No. No way. I don't believe you. Do you see that 6K and 5K at 20? What the what? I I don't believe him. It's probably going to go though. I mean, that's been a good signal lately.
YouTube Ace Trades. Seth, what was the fill for that you got?
I got 3,025. But I'm a little nervous about it because of what I'm seeing in the E-mini. Or sorry, in the 10-year. See, that's not...
YouTube Gary Rich. FedEx may drag the MKTS down a bit. At end of the day we see if the MKTS shrug it off.
Yeah. Well, now the treasuries are just sitting
YouTube
there.
Ace Trades. It's failing. Get out maybe?
You think it's failing? I think so too. Okay. I was thinking that I was going to get +1, but then it's not. It's not going. Right? But over here on this one, how can it not be moving? How can she slap? How can she slap? Nobody's buying that. But that is fucking crazy. That is I've never seen that before. Okay, one of them pulled at 19.5. Can I see it? Where is it? Let me see it. 4,000. It was bid at 19.5 pulled. And there's 4,000, almost 4,000 at 21. And the E-mini did fail there on our trade. So I could see that it wasn't working, but it seemed like that there was something else that it did that kind of concerned you, Ace. What was? Was that just it should have gone or what? Hmm. The problem here in this trade, 21 is an awful lot of risk to take to buy it, right? Um, but that might be your only choice
YouTube
if you
Ace
want to
trades,
buy.
just that the general energy is still down.
Gotcha. Because they might buy that 21 all at once.
YouTube Ace trades, I should have said it was just a pullback.
Right. Well, it worked okay. I got the 4 points. I liked the spot. And I liked the setup because, there was maybe a potential that it was going to turn up, but it didn't quite work out that way, did it? All right. I think this is going to go. It's starting to get a little bit, a little flicker of activity. The E-mini did turn down there a little bit, but it's just kind of still breathing. This bid started to stack a little bit. Okay. Look at that. Okay. He's doing a level break for sure. I think he's going to hit it. Do it. He's sitting there over, whoever's setting this up is sitting there on the other side of the screen watching me right now and being like, Seth, don't say that. Now I can't do it. Now I'm going to have to go down, stop you all, pull my order at 20, bring it back down, and then try going again because you gave it away. They're going to hit it. I feel very strongly that they're going to hit it. Okay. 20 half and 24. So somebody just added a target at 24. Somebody just stacked another one at the 20. 1200 at 20. Clearly, the 21 half, a level that people care about, I guess. Okay, now they're bidding 33. Okay. Level 2 flipped. The way that the level 2 is behaving there is, it looks like a dig measuring contest to me. Now he's pulling it at 21. I think that the offers might be giving up. And they basically started to show all of their liquidity to be like, I'm serious about pushing this up. So I'm just warning you, maybe you don't want to sell this.
YouTube, Ace Trades, got to step away again. Keep pushing the Amini down, nerd face.
Okay, I will sell another contract. Nah, I don't see a safe spot to do it. Maybe when that one that I was trying failed, we should have tried taking it short. Okay. So there they hit it. There was 6,000. It took 6,000 to clear, which was a lot more than they were showing. There was a backwash into it at 21, but they iceberged and held it. They decided to take it through anyways. So not quite your typical level break, but they did hit it. Sometimes when you get something like that, the level breakers say, well, there's enough people out there willing to do the work for me. They can take another step up. Now that said, nobody hit 21 half. Nobody hit 21 half. When you start losing control of the target rate, you need to increase reserves in the system, but that's not necessarily QE in a traditional sense. They're going to do this via permanent open market operations. It might as well be quantitative easing, right? That's why I feel like what we're seeing in the repo market could be significant, because it could cause treasuries to catch a bid. And seeing this level break trade turning out the way that it is after things having been so quiet before, it really starts to make you wonder, right? Well, the E-mini came back up to 3,050 cents. Sorry, Ace, I tried, but it came back. Okay. So now 2,000 pulled off of the 20. Stacked back on. It was actually 3,000 pulled off and then 500 put back on. Okay. So they hit 20 and they absorbed 5,000 contracts and they added 4,000 more. Look at it, they were adding big orders at 22. There's an 879, 1590. This is quite the battle. The E-mini kind of turned back up again is maybe part of why they ticked down. Saudi Arabia is calling on its allies and all those in support of energy security to press sanctions against Iran. So they're making it if you don't do something about this, then the world energy markets are at risk. which is a smart take. Because they're right. You can't just let Iran start attacking people's oil reserves like that's freaking war. Freaking war. Good grief, Seth. Okay, uptick again. 21 pulling. Sellers probably getting a little panicked now. Really? Below 1,000. Okay, somebody takes a 15. Nope, 21's still trying to hold it. Okay, buyer's trying it again. Somebody added a little bit there at 22. There's 1,000 added at 22. So all of this liquidity is adding in through this area, potentially on anticipation of a level break. Deutsche Bank on repo massacre. We remained confused about the real cause. Okay, so basically they're saying it's not us. Well, there's been some good bids, and they've hit a few at 21.5, but and they're hitting 20.5 now as well. Okay, so apparently in Orem there was a bear on the side of the freeway. Well, on the side of State Street. Bear has been tranquilized, all lanes back open, no reported injuries. You can make this stuff up. Okay, so now they're holding 3,000 at 20. Like, really? India has announced a ban of e-cigarette production and sales. That's not good. E-mini Pretty good sell there in cumulative delta, but it not actually moving. So you see this imbalance here at 3,000. There's a lot of selling into it, but not a whole lot of buying into it. Okay. He added on 21. $5K at 20.5. Hmm. They're true believers. Somebody really wants to buy it. Somebody really wants to sell it. E-mini not really telling me anything useful. But they're going to try and hit this 20 again. So they're hitting the 20. It's something, some hold there. Somebody pulled off of the 130.005. That's just the spot where they're adding the liquidity, so that one probably doesn't matter. I'm trying to hit it, push it back up. News conference by Saudi Ministry of Defense is about to start. I've been asked not to take any photos yet, but they said they would show off the actual missiles and drones they say they've collected from the two sites. They haven't disappointed. Okay, so Mark Stone is reporting that the Saudis are showing off missiles. Is oil responding here? When did this start? Around the open 7:30. No, oil has been up. They tried to buy up through 20.5, but they did not succeed.
YouTube, Luis Alarid. They will find it was made in China. Drones cheaper there.
Maybe. It seems like all those countries are kind of working together, right? I don't think so, though. I mean, Iran has the technology. Remember, they took down a drone during the Obama presidency and basically were able to steal the technology. Guy at 20.5 is going to try and put pressure on at 20. And the 10-year is just kind of doesn't know, I guess.
YouTube, Luis Alarid. They are good at replicating. Heard they made a Range Rover copy.
Okay, I'm reading something from a Zero Hedge. Yesterday, in a lengthy article referencing the escalating dollar and funding liquidity shortage as a result of the aggressive rebuild of the Treasury's cash balance from 133 billion to 350 billion in the aftermath of the debt ceiling deal, we said forget China, the Fed has a much bigger problem on its hands. As we explained in detail, the main reason why the Fed should be concerned is that according to a research report from Bank of America's Mark Cabana, I hit 20 there again, which we used extensively in the report, the Fed may be forced to launch quantitative easing as soon as Q4 to provide the market with the much needed liquidity or else suffer the consequences of a major liquidity shortage. To wit, in describing the various steps the Fed can engage in, this is what the Bank of America strategist said. Outright QE. After the OMO dealer capacity is exhausted, the Fed may need to start permanently expanding its balance sheet. The Fed would likely describe this as offsetting bank reserve demand and growth in other non-reserve liabilities. Regardless, it would represent the Fed permanently buying U.S. Treasuries outright to maintain control of funding markets well above the ZLB. They've now hit 6,000 into 20. Well, it appears the Fed paid attention because moments ago we received an email from a Federal Reserve researcher, which should make everyone very, very nervous, specifically the rather urgent request from a Fed staffer, no, not Edward Quince, seeks the full Cabana report, whose just as noted above is that the Fed will have to launch QE4 in very short notice to offset the upcoming liquidity drain. Hi, Zero Hedge. Can you please send me the link to the news analysts written by Bank of America's Mark Cabana that is mentioned in the article below? I could not find it anywhere online when I searched for it. There are a few references to Cabana in the Zero Hedge article, so if they came from different reports, please send me all of the ones that are mentioned. For what it's worth, Bank of America believes the Fed will need to step in to offset those funding market pressures through outright balance sheet expansion or QE potentially in Q4. And while the Fed could get ahead of these issues by laying out a framework around money market control before greater criticisms and questions emerge about the independence of money, fiscal policies, or the path to MMT, it won't do that. Instead, it will wait for another even greater Lehman-like crash to float the idea of imminent QE, which is precisely what Nora warned about earlier in the day. Or maybe the guy is just saying, I think that Zero Hedge is full of shit, and where's the article? And here they didn't provide it, did they? They said it can be found here, and that's another Zero Hedge article. But then there's no link to it. They're quoting some article that we don't have access to. And apparently, the Federal Reserve doesn't have access to it as well. Okay. E-mini doing something. Spike in buying. Short-lived retracing. Beware Quadwitch and Untethered Market says zero hedge. Yeah. Uptick. Kind of just still the level 2 is just kind of dancing around. And the E-mini is like, I can't even tell what's going on over there. I have to say, though, if we really felt like it was a short in the E-mini, this wouldn't be a bad spot. My own level 2 indicators don't necessarily tell me anything significant here about the E-mini. There is no longer a huge bid at 20, but they absorbed a lot of contracts there. So down tick. Did not take a lot of contracts to make it down tick, by the way. Oh, well, 1820. 1820, and then 100 have already hit back into it. I misread that. I thought that 100 was what it took it to tick down. It's like, what? What? Uptick. 2000 to uptick. Okay, 5-year uptick, but not holding a good bid. They hit 21.
YouTube, Greg Orlovsky can't make one tick in here yet.
Yeah. It's super tight, right? I haven't quite seen, I've seen fights like this, but never quite to this degree. It's like somebody really doesn't want 21.5 to go. If they hit it, you are going to see some wild stuff, I think. But can they actually do it? You can see it fighting them there at 20, even at 21. Even at 21, it is fighting them. Shouldn't say even at, because of course, if you really don't want 21.5 to trade, then you would probably want 21 to be as menacing as possible. How to hedge Bitcoin risks with margin trading. That sounds like a dumb idea. I'm going to click the link anyways. It's probably clickbait. Okay. Now they're getting an okay bid at 21. Okay. So they took 21.5, who was not too dramatic. Finally getting that filled makes me feel a lot better. Well, 21.5 is still, I would still be considered holding. Can certainly see some people maybe even going short here. At 5-year, not positioned the same. Five-year needs to make another uptick, but they're not holding a super strong bid. Oh, did you guys hear that in the background? That was funny. My wife was like, "Did you get your socks on, son?" And one of the girls answered her because they thought that she was talking to her. Okay. Ooh, it wants to hold it so bad. Come on. Come on. I just want to see an amazing, 4-tick stop run higher. That would be so amazing. Please. Pretty please. Saudi Deputy Defense Minister says appreciate U.S.'s long-standing position on defending its allies and core interests in the region. Oh, gosh. Saudi Arabia praises Trump for confronting Iran and terrorist organizations' aggression in an unprecedented way. Saudi Deputy Defense Minister.
YouTube, Greg Orlovsky, stuck here ZP at 10.
You're long at 10? Are you saying because we're above 10 right at the moment? So 5 years not quite coming along. I'm still seeing stuff on my local news feeds about the bear.
YouTube, Greg Orlovsky, yes.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, the E-mini is not selling. If the E-mini was selling, this would be a lot easier, but the E-mini doesn't necessarily have to sell. In fact, if the trade is global risk, then maybe the E-mini would sell, potentially. Oil, by the way, retraced a bunch of its move. But if the trade is quantitative easing, then you could buy all the things, which is the favorite trade. I personally, I think that buy all the things is a fun trade.
YouTube, Greg Orlovsky, 1030 number might have some effects.
That's a good point. That's the oil number, right? Well, I probably shouldn't add one because it's gonna be a probably this oil number is gonna be a huge drain on my machine. But I will put one up here. Here, we'll put up a chart. Did they get another uptick there? Finally? Yes? Cool. Well, there's going to be a lot of liquidity that they're going to have to plow through now, but I think they could do it. There we go. Okay.
YouTube, Greg Orlovsky, taking 3 ticks before news.
So the first bit of this move up was slightly correlated with the oil, but then oil reverted a little bit and we kept moving higher. So it's not oil. I see a pretty good correlation with the British pound and the euro maybe, but it's kind of random. So is there some Brexit news? Okay. You know what? I can't do this. They're stacking 4,000 at 22. And I need to pee. No, not that you needed to know that, but I'm just going to walk away for a little bit because this is just. Okay, so what do we got here? Hmm. So they traded a little bit into 22.5. I saw the big bid was at 22, right? And they decided to
YouTube,
take it.
Luis Alarid, the DAX is spiking up.
So I'm not sure what to make of all of this. Bulls certainly made a significant victory there, but the Bears are still willing to sell it. And all on FOMC day that started very, very quiet. Okay, U.S. crude oil inventories actual 1058K versus negative 6912K previous. And the estimate was negative 2250K. So you would think that that would move oil, but it is not. Well, it is. Oil is moving, but it didn't just go like, you know. Although I suppose the 50-cent swing is not necessarily trivial. Okay, 21 half aggressively taken offer. Atlanta GDP now 1.9
YouTube,
versus
Luis
1.8.
Alarid, metals rising.
Is gold moving? Yep. They're worried about something, but the up might just be Saudi Arabia, you know? In fact, I think that's probably the best theory. Probably the best theory. Why am I not getting... wonder if my video statistics are off again. Probably. Yeah, it is. It's like, it seems like that's less people than normal, but it's right on where it usually is. Okay. So they are able to get it right back up to the high. People gonna nibble at that a little bit.
YouTube, Gary Rich, we are well supplied with oil, almost awash. The weekly data is many times noise, with tiny moves in crude.
Yeah. I've noticed that because I was, you know what, earlier on, I thought, well, man, if you can read the news in oil, and I seem to be pretty good at reading the news, then, I could catch some pretty good swings and stuff. But then when you look at how it moves in comparison to the oil inventories and things like that, the movement is kind of wonky sometimes. And this one, if you look at it, if I bring it over here, it's, it's down and then up and then all the way back to here and up and down. It's all over the place. All over the place. Okay. Looks like that bid is pumping again. Stomped out a couple of people, I think. and maybe not stopped out, but convinced them that they wanted to buy. And seeing some big orders hit 22.5. Not huge ones, but like the 100 lots and stuff are all kind of nibbling at 22.5. Jimmy Carter, it would be a disaster to have 4 more years of Trump. Why does anybody care what Jimmy Carter thinks? Listen, Jimmy Carter's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a good guy. I just don't think that his opinion is too relevant anymore. Look, it's buy all the things, guys. It's buy all the things. Is that true? This woman was found guilty of criminal charges for fraud while head of the IMF. Anyone found guilty of such a crime wouldn't even be able to run a shop. But in the world of international finance, you get nominated as president of the European Central Bank. Is that true? I've not heard that. Shocking if true. Oil algos confused despite bigger than expected crude builds. Yes, because who really wants to sell oil right now? Oil traders are just all sorts of confused. Like, look, they're buying it. They're pushing up 58 to 39. And a draw is a negative thing, right? There's more than expected, then prices should go down, and they're pushing the upside at the moment, at least. Saudi displays drones and missiles allegedly used in attacks. Russia's foreign ministry says Trump's proposal to tighten sanctions on Iran is destructive and will not solve anything. Well, maybe you should do something and tell Iran to stop being stupid. I'm starting to get that way, aren't I? Still a pretty big iceberg at 22.5, but I'm still not seeing like the get out. Huh. Maybe a little bit there in the 30 year, but okay. Cool. Well, I got 4 out of it in the end. How is that only actually for about 20 half? I guess it is. 20 and 20 half. So that's 1, 2, and then 1, 2. But it wasn't 21 half that I just got filled at. It was 22, so it should be 5. So that's wrong. Right? Limit 22. Let's see here. I took 21 and 20 half, and then 21 half. So 1, 2, and then 3, 4. Okay. I got it. I got 4. Okay. Not worth it.
YouTube, Ace Trades. Anyone else think it's weird it bounced off my entry price?
I do. I do find it a little weird. Are you still in? I find it a little weird that both equities and treasuries are moving up together. Because if your traded continued to go down, then that one in the 10-year could have really ran, you know? I think there's probably still another leg up in the treasuries, but it's time for me to stop. And I just can't. Oh, man, I don't know what the deal is.
YouTube, Ace Trades. No set at stop for the final few contracts.
Gotcha. Well, I don't know. It just kind of feels to me like they're going to buy it and it's going to go up all day, but they're going to be as frustrating and maddeningly slow about it as possible. Ryan, June. Tonight, it's expected rate cuts if Feds comment that in the future there will
YouTube,
be rate cuts.
Winstanzamom, Amor Fatty, not FOMO. You all are doing well today. Hello. Just stopping by to say hello and remind Ace to save a dance for me. Hello, speculators as birds who are ready for their day.
They're clearly ready for their day today, huh? Yeah, they're loud. Hmm. Well, guys, I feel sleepy again. With all that excitement, I'm already tuckered out. And I've got to figure out what I'm going to do about my car. I go yesterday. Car doesn't work. Give it a jump. It's fine. I drive to work. Get out. Still doesn't seem to be working. Like it wouldn't start back up.
YouTube, Winstanzamom. Did the repo affect today's trading?
As far as I can tell, no. But I think that the repo thing is kind of more of a longer term fundamentals type of
YouTube, Winstanzamom. I hope your car was
indicator.
not repoed. Lol.
No. It just says that there's some funding troubles, and that could develop into something more significant later that causes a lot of trouble on markets.
YouTube, Ace Trades at Winstanzamom Morning Love.
Anyways, so I found somebody to jump me in the parking lot, and I don't know, maybe I just connected it wrong, but it wouldn't charge. So then my wife came and we sat and we charged it for like 30 minutes, and it did not charge. Now, you would think if it was like the alternator that it would have died on me on the freeway, right? But maybe I killed the battery, or which is weird because it's only like a 1.5 year old battery. Maybe the connectors are just bad. So anyways, we just left it there in that parking lot. And I said, hey, this monitor is a really good deal. We should go get that. So we went and got the monitor. And I left the car there in the parking lot. And now I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Like, I'm going to go find a tow truck and tow it, I guess. And where should I take it? How am I going to do all of that? And Melissa's working today. I don't know. So that's where we're at. Call
YouTube,
AAA.
Winstanzamom. Good morning,
Yeah.
Ace of my dancing hearts. I hope sexy robot voice is being respectful of your position as the robot overlord who can trade her for a younger voice who behaves better.
No, this is the younger voice. There's an older voice. We could try the older voice. I might have some time to mess with that today, so especially if my car is gone and I can't get to the gym, then I probably should use that time to program that. Well, anyways, my wife has USAA, so I think that we can call them. Good benefits through them. But I'm concerned that I'm going to have to buy a new cut. I mean, here's the thing. I think that car is like paid off in August. So taking depending on how much I get back out for it, and I think I probably could get enough out of it. I'm probably
YouTube, wrong
okay on that.
ZH. Hi, Seth.
Hey, wrong. This is pretty late to see you, but thanks for joining. So I suppose that I could get a new car, but my car has such a great sound system.
YouTube, Winstanzamom. What kind of car do you have?
I have an Acura TL with the technology package, so the sound in it is so great. It's best. Driving in my car, I drive really far to go to my gym, but I get to listen to the music, and that's important, and so it's okay. But if I have to go and get a crappy car,
YouTube, Hail and Flourish. Just get a code scanner.
just get a code scanner. How many miles a day do you drive? So I'm, it's a lot. I think it's a lot. How far is it? It's probably like 40 miles a day or something. If I got a new one, I would definitely try and get, like if I could find a really fuel efficient Toyota Corolla that also had the good sound system, then I could totally trade it, because I don't need all of the luxuries of the TL anymore. I got that for when I was single, and it served the purpose when I was single, and now I don't necessarily need it. And if I could reduce my liability, I suppose that would be good. Let's see here.
YouTube, wrong ZH. It seems like my VPN doesn't works well. It constantly stops.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that over there in China, they're probably doing everything they can to disrupt those. You know? Oh, yes. And a Corolla hatchback. If I could get a hatchback, I would totally get the hatchback. Okay.
YouTube, Winstanzamom, I have a Volvo, Pinto, a Nova, a Mitsubishi Galant, several Toyotas, a Honda CR-V, several Mercedes, a Jaguar, and now we drive a Prius.
Man, you have a ton of cars. And now you drive a Prius, huh? I mean, I would be okay with a
YouTube,
Prius.
Winstanzamom, I liked my Honda CR-V, my silver Mercedes and my Jaguar best.
But I'm thinking maybe like a 2015, 2016. Well, there's a 2015 one with a clean title for $79.95. So I could potentially trade down and I might even get a smaller car payment, potentially, depending on how much I get back for my car and everything else like that. And you can pay a lot for them too, though. There's like a couple of these that are like $20,000. Is there like a special energy efficient versions and stuff? I don't know. But if I can just fix this car, I would much rather do that. What I'm worried though is that,
YouTube, Winstanzamom, I would stay away from the gas guzzlers for the next few years.
well, yeah, with the way that oil is going right now, right? My TL isn't a gas guzzler, but it could be better, right? Let's see here.
YouTube, popularity matters. My next vehicle is a cheap motorcycle.
There you go. Cheap motorcycle. I've always wanted to get one of those Ducatis. Oh, that would be fun. But I don't know if I actually have the guts to drive a car like that. They're definitely being slow about this. Like, I'm sitting here looking at this like, I could buy 22 again. But look, there's 36 going into 22 half. They're gonna be hard about it every step. Okay.
YouTube, Gary Rich, only energy efficiency is a bicycle.
Ooh. Avalons are relatively energy efficient too, huh? Wouldn't mind an Avalon. An insight. What is an insight? Is an insight like a special newer fuel
YouTube,
efficient
Greg
one?
Orlovsky, does this just coast until the FOMC?
I think so. Here's the thing, like that 21.5 was clearly a level that people were interested in. Now that it's broken,
YouTube, popularity matters. Electric unicycles are amazing EUC.
yeah, if only. I don't see any reason why it can't continue up. Really don't, but it's just so slow, you know? Like
YouTube, Gary Rich, rent a e-scooter.
Renting a scooter. I just hope that that it's just like the battery was, that I just cooked the battery, you know? If it turns out that I just cooked the battery, what's going on here? It's weird. This my OBS is staying on top for some reason. Okay. So I couldn't get the scroll bar.
YouTube, Winstanzamom, I would like an electric bicycle and or vroom vroom hot little red scooter that makes me look wild, with 3 wheels, that's as wild as I get to be, sigh. YouTube, Gary Rich, maybe the alternator is bad not charging the battery.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it's the alternator, then that's like $1,000 change, right? That's when it's like, okay, maybe I really do have to replace it. And it is an old. It's like a 2008. 2010 Prius.
YouTube,
69.
Greg Orlovsky, didn't sound too good a few minutes ago. Car get repoed and you get jumped in the parking lot. JK.
No, the repo is a what repurchase agreement is what that means. And there's a huge iceberg at 22 again.
YouTube, Hail and Flourish, nah. You can buy an alternator for less than that. Just don't buy parts from dealer.
I need to change the body types here.
YouTube, Winstanzamom, do you have a school nearby with a mechanic studying cars? They will take a look if you have time for them to get your car on their schedule.
Oh, really? I think, the question is, I've been taking it
YouTube, Gary Rich, get a rebuilt alternator, not OEM, or just a bad battery.
Yeah. Hold on here. What do we want? Sedan. There we go. I'm like, there's got to be more.
YouTube, Greg Orlovsky, 6,200 at 22.
Yeah, that's a huge iceberg. I mean, the thing is at this point, those kinds of numbers don't necessarily scare me because, somebody bought so much here that they could totally take it off here. But they sure are taking a lot today, aren't they? Okay, so if I'm going to limit this by year, let's start from 2014. There we go. So that gives me cars within the range that I would find acceptable.
YouTube, Winstanzamom, you can have a mechanic diagnosis your car and tell you what is wrong with the car.
Well, sure.
Then you order the parts and he does the labor. Most mechanics will do this, especially if you pay in cash.
So, I mean, the thing for me is just that I don't want...
YouTube, Gary Rich, AutoZone will check the amps to see if alternator is working properly.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where my conundrum comes in. Is like, I may have just fried the battery. So I could take it over to AutoZone and they would test it and they would tell me if it's the alternator or not. But then if it's not, then I would have to take it again over to the car shop. So I'm thinking I probably should just take it to the car shop. If it's the alternator, there's a really good chance that I just buy a new car. I mean, the thing is it wasn't a ton of money at the time, but I got a really good deal on that car. Because I was like, I can tell you numbers, right? I paid $15K for it. And at the time, an Acura TLS was maybe, if you were lucky, you could get $15,000. And so somebody put up a TL for that price, and I was like, heck yeah. And the reason that it was so low was because he had put a lot of miles on it. But it was all like highway miles. It was totally fine. So, and it's been a great car. And mostly the thing that I like about it is the sound system is awesome. The sound system, awesome. It's so great. Okay. So, I would like to keep the car, but, and like I said, I think that it would be finished paying off in August, right? So, if I take it in and it turns out to be something like the alternator, well, that would be probably $1,000 fix. There's actually some other things on it that probably need to be fixed. So to me, it's kind of like, well, maybe I should just trade it in. Because if I can trade it in and get like 5,000 for it, well, let's go look at the Kelly Blue Book. But you know, if I can trade it in and then get a Camry, you know, that is cheaper, because I bought it because I was single and I was trying to project a certain persona. This is funny, actually. I was like, well, I want a luxury car, but I like the Acura because it's kind of edgy, kind of looks kind of edgy. Look at there, they go, they new high. Because they could just keep going all day, but it's going to be maddeningly slow. Why do I always get distracted like that? Anyways, I liked it because it was a luxury car. It was kind of edgy, and I was going to be driving a lot. And I figured, okay, you know, like that's not like an extravagant car, but it's still nice. And that was kind of the persona that I wanted to put out, right? Now I'm married. I just don't give a fuck, you know? It could be the crappiest beater car as long as it is reliable and has good gas mileage and has good sound. Good sound's still important. Good sound's still important. So I could trade down.
YouTube, Winstanzamom, there is an app on your smartphone that allows you to check your car, scan it, and then your phone gives you information.
Really? What do you scan on your car, though? I don't never seen any kind of QR code on my car. Okay. Price a new/used car. Okay. Let's find out how much it is worth. Okay. It is an Acura.
YouTube, Ace Trades, I think she is teasing you.
Think she is teasing you? Could be. Pouring good money into an older car is not a good thing. Well, generally speaking, no, you're right. That's why it's like, okay, if I have to pour $1,000 into it, then in order for me to come out positive, that one particular maintenance needs to make the car run for more than like 6 months, you know, past August, in order for that to be worth it. So at $1,000, it's a maybe, you know, it's a maybe. 2008 Acura TL. I don't know if it's the 3.2 or the 3.5. I don't think it's the S. Global blowing ceiling. Is it news? Watching 45 closely.
YouTube, Winstanzamom, the video is on Dipley, published on December 8th, 20171338 SHARESAVE.
Okay. And it's, well, what would matter? Where's the technology package? It has the technology package. I guess it will just, the A-spec package will just add that one. Maybe it's not a 2008. Maybe I need to go back. Maybe it's a 2009. Must be a 2009. 2009 Acura TL. Technology package. There we go. Next. Let's say that it's in good condition, because there are some cosmetic defects. They're telling me I could get around 6,000 for it. So maybe I should trade down. Maybe. So that brings me into my next question, which is like, Well, I've been taking it to the dealer mostly just because it was still under warranty or whatever, and so I was getting stuff done for free. But I have my other car guy, and that's where I took my cars before, and maybe I should take it to him. But if I take it to him, then how do I get it to the dealer? So maybe I should take it to the dealer because maybe they'll trade me into something right there. Maybe they can give me a TLS. You know what I mean? So that's where I start to get like, I'm really not sure what to do because and the other thing was when I was charging it the other day, it seemed to be doing something. Like it seemed to be getting better, but we had been charging for like 30 minutes and it wasn't going. So.
YouTube, wrong ZH. I changed the location from USA to Germany and it's not bad.
Oh, that's not. Okay. I'm sure that I was hearing that the VPNs in China were being disruptive and having all sorts of troubles. And then just come back into 23. It makes me feel like, oh, I should have bought it, but then you look at it and you're like, well, yeah, but you really want to sit and wait. That would have put me in that trade. When did I get into that trade? Oh man. I was in that forever. I got in that at 747.
YouTube, Gary Rich. Let it get stolen and collect insurance. LOL.
That would have been a 90-minute trade. I had stayed in that. I stayed in that for an hour and got 4 ticks. And honestly,
YouTube, Winstanza call your dealer and ask them what they charge to pick up your car. Then call the best local mechanic on Yelp and ask them what they charge for pickup. Usually that mechanic will know a guy.
Well, I think that the USAA will tow it for me, I think. Well, I could just call them. I should just call them. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the battery is fried or if there's something wrong with the alternator.
YouTube, wrong ZH. It was all good, but then these days.
I know the math. Like the thing that's kind of okay. So hold on. Okay, let's see here. Okay. So it says that there's 1849 left on it. So let's just say that I get 1849. Well, let's just say that I get, well, what would be if I come back here into the Kelly Blue Book and I say, oh, no, that was wrong. Buy from a private party, fair condition, 5,000 to 7,000. So let's just say that they give me 5,000 for it. And
YouTube, Gary Rich S want push through.
Minus 1849. So I can get about 3,000 off. So I could get a car. I could get like a $10,000 car for pay 7. If we assume that today's interest rate is 3.11, that's less than I'm paying right now. So it actually would be a reasonable deal. There's a theory here about a connection between monetary turmoil and financing of Saudis after attack seems dubious to me. Yeah, there's a lot of nonsense out there.
YouTube, Winstan's mom Facebook Marketplace will have listings and you can price your old car and possibly find more car for the money. Our community is overpopulated with good car deals because no one needs a car now.
Anyways, so I suppose I could. That would make me a little bit. It's not like my car payment is huge. But what would it take? If I was willing to just keep paying what I did, what I was, it'd be probably like 12. No, actually less than that, 11. Oh, loan period. No, I put an extra one there. That's why. So it could go as high as 11. 11, but then minus the 1849. So what was it? Oh, 3,000.
YouTube, Gary Rich. Seth needs an assistant. He's trying to make money, not problems.
So I could go as high as 14. I could potentially go as high as 14 if they give me back. So what do they got? Okay. So let's come back to this. It's so, it's so interesting because I just find this particular subject engaging because I think the goal is that you want to be spending your money on assets, not liabilities, So I do spend some money on things like I got this
YouTube
monitor,
Ace
right?
Trades at Gary Richwell. He can't afford my assistance.
I spent $100 on that monitor. It's a $300 monitor. Pretty happy with it. It makes me happy, so I'm okay with it. Is it an asset or a liability? Well, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like that
YouTube,
monitor...
Winstan's mom. Seth, are we moving slightly into Keysing? Because this seems like 2006-ish or 2007 to me again.
I think
Could you explain QE and the Fed a bit for me?
Hold on, let's finish talking about cars for a second. I think you have a good... I think we might be. I mean, that's the risk, I think. Anyways, I don't think that monitor is going to make me more money, but maybe. I mean, you never know. I could put a lot more information on there if I want to, right? Okay. But a car is kind of a different because a car is always a liability because cars always decrease in value, but you kind of need to get around. So you kind of have to do it anyways. But then the whole cost advantage of do you trade in or fix it is always an interesting calculation, and there's a lot of different ways of looking at it, So yeah. Okay, so QE. So what is QE? QE is basically, for our purposes, is this. The Federal Reserve buys treasuries. Literally, they just buy treasuries. Okay? You come out here and you look at the DOM, there will be stronger bids. There'd be more people buying because the Federal Reserve is doing that. And they're like, this is how much we're going to buy and all of these things. And you can basically just front run them. It's great. Okay. Now, when they do that, what that does is that provides more liquidity for the banks to work with. Okay. So if a bank wants to go and do something, like the bank wants to go into a stock trade for some reason, they have more available funds to do that with. Okay. So they can buy more things. So for our purposes, what does QA mean? QE means buy all the things. It's a fun trade because You sit and you watch. What are they going to buy today? And then you see a little spike and you buy that thing and it just runs all day. The QE era was easy money. Okay. But there's costs to it. What we're experiencing right now is the cost, because eventually the Federal Reserve has to you pull that off, because QE is basically they're putting more liquidity in. At some point, that means that they're going to have to take liquidity out of the market at a later date. Now, hopefully you do it in a time when the economy is doing really, really well.
YouTube, Winstanzamom, good explanation. QE is a bit like buying cookies, baked goods and wrapping paper from your church, school or children, lol.
Yeah, so the problem that we're having right now is that it seems like things are pretty okay, and yet the banks are having a hard time finding overnight funding for some of their operations. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on that's causing this shortage, but it's very concerning. And it might mean that in order to fund that short-term problem, that the Federal Reserve will have to do more quantitative easing. And what happens if they have to keep easing forever and ever and ever? Well, that's what Japan has been in, and it hasn't been positive for their economy. The Japanese economy has basically been like stagnant for the past 20 or 30 years, right? And it's the same thing when you keep interest rates perpetually low. There's a good argument, I personally believe it very much so, that excessively low interest rates for a long period of time actually stunts growth.
YouTube, Ace Trades, at Winstanzamom, how are the animals there at the ranch?
Okay, so we were looking for from 10 to what did I say? Oh, I can do 11, but then I get 3, so it can go up to 14. So from 10 to 14, what do we get?
YouTube, Winstanzamom, the girls had rabbit for breakfast and hopped off to nap.
Ugh. You eat the rabbit? Don't tell Melissa that. You saying the ferrets ate a rabbit? You just have like rabbit parts you get from somewhere? Or did you actually give them like a rabbit, you monster? Church is taking a long time. So we'll start the stream up when we do the oh, look at that. You can get a 2009 Acura TL with the tech package. That's like my exact car, but with less
YouTube, Ace Trades, at
miles on
Winstanzamom,
it.
remember, Seth has a rabbit in a box upstairs.
Somebody's selling it for $12,000. Okay, but here's like an RDX.
YouTube, Gary Rich. This short-term funding incident reminds me of back end of 2018 where credit markets seized for a week, sell-off began.
Yeah. So I wasn't around back then, so I don't remember that, but I find it
YouTube,
concerning.
Winstanzamom. Lately I buy freeze-dried meat for my girls and they get eggs, gizzards etc. whatever we have in the freezer that is meat. They can only eat meat.
That's interesting that there are people selling my car for basically $10,000. And I'm sitting here like, maybe I could get 6. Maybe. I don't know. I could take it to the Toyota. I don't know. It sucks that I can't just like, I want to trade it in. Have to talk with my wife and do a little bit more research. But I mean,
YouTube, Hail and Flourish. People are asking 10, not getting it.
Asking 10. Where are you talking? Hail and Flourish. Anyways, I do find it concerning, but you base on the situation and everything, it doesn't necessarily have to be a big deal, Like it just means, okay, the Federal Reserve needs to be prepared to be able to.
YouTube, hail and flourish car.
Oh, for the car, yeah. I don't think that they get 12, but that's like what a dealership is asking for it. So I'm sitting here like, okay, they buy it from me for 6, they put $3,000 in the car, they could make.
YouTube, Winstanzamom, I once sold a little Toyota Tercel named Wild Thing to CarMax. They were efficient and I got the price I had researched was fair and profitable to both of us.
So I mean, the thing is for me to fix it up and make it perfect is a lot, but for them it's nothing, you know. So maybe I should just trade down. Because if I can trade down into like a little Toyota Corolla, I was just looking at the Acura because that's
YouTube,
where I would
Ace
take
trades
it to
at
trade.
Winstanzamom except they sold it into sex slavery.
Something. I just it's the fact that it doesn't drive. If it drove, but then there was still something that I needed to fix, then it would be a different issue, you know? Okay, here's an article. What does it say about it? This is just an advertisement.
YouTube, Winstanzamom, no, my friend the psychic said the better angel spirit, Michael who rode with me had taken the bad juju to the rodeo and roped it off in the OK Corral.
I could do CarMax.
YouTube, Winstanzamom, Ace you need a trilby.
Donate it and get the tax write off.
YouTube, Ace trades at Winstanzamom probably not. Now Googling it. YouTube, Gary Rich, dream catchers for all.
Yeah, I could try CarMax. If I can just get it running, I mean, I'm hoping, even if I go and it's just that I killed the battery, like let's say we killed the battery, the alternator still works, but there's something wrong with the car that's killing batteries for me.
YouTube, Winstanzamom, dreamcatchers of the Hopi kind, not the Stephen King novel kind of dreamcatchers, doo-doo-doo-do.
Maybe I still go out and trade it in. Maybe. Because I could get a cheaper payment. And then that would give my wife a little bit more room for her to get the van that she wants. Well, are you going to hit into 24? It's kind of frustrating, but that's what this is a
YouTube,
real
Ace trades
slow
at
mover.
Winstanzamom sure, I'd make a hat look good, and I wear one when I go running. I think that hat ship has passed.
So if I had taken that trade at like 6:30 and it took an hour and at like 7:30 and the E-mini was going and I had some profit, so maybe I say I let it go. And then at that point, maybe I would have let it kept running. But because it was 8:30 and I don't like to trade after that time, because even though I'm staying home today, I don't like to start getting in the habit of trading into that time. But if it wasn't for that, I think I would have kept it on. Because this looks like a technical level is broken and they have every reason they can continue to move up. It's a slow churn order flow. So you're going to get like this, hey, you should get out like every step of the way. And it's really frustrating. Now, on the other hand, if it's just the battery, could I keep running it for another year or whatever? Totally down. Would totally do that. I can also, I can get something that's under 10, which with a
YouTube
Corolla,
Winstanzamam ace of the trilby worthy head. Only the very cool wear a hat and you are too far and too between. That is why we do not see more hats on the streets and the heads. You are hat worthy.
But yeah, I could still go for the higher payment, just get a shorter term. That would be nice too. Okay, well, so at 9:30 we're gonna get the European close.
YouTube ace trades at Winstanzamam thanks. Asterisk blushes.
So that's when I will stop streaming and get to work, and we will pick this back up about 10 minutes before the FOMC release at 2 p.m. Eastern time, noon my time. Well, 2 hours basically, and we'll watch that for a while. It could be a really wild ride. Do you think, because we had an up move,
YouTube Gary Rich cowboy hats for all?
Do you think that the FOMC is going to be more dovish than expected? I mean, that's going to be my prediction, because when we've seen odd behavior going into the FOMC, it's like they knew
YouTube
what was going
ace
on.
trades thanks for the chat, Seth. Have a good day. Hope the car thing works out. You know it's red on red, yeah? Lol.
Yeah. We got a good trade too. So here's that. This is like the
YouTube
Winstanzamam.
So are you, Seth. I think perhaps a 6-gallon for you. I was born under a wandering star and change my hats frequently. Nice jobs, boys. Be the hero in your movie.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I should wear hats, but I don't frequently do that. Still got a few minutes, so. I guess while we're at it, thanks everybody that left comments on the what is the best futures trading software platform. I think it's kind of fun because everybody loves the platform that they're trading, and obviously the people that are using the software that I'm using and that I thought was the best, probably those people are going to be less likely to comment. But lots of people trying to promote Sierra charts over Ninja Trader, which is cool, but like that's kind of part of the
YouTube Gary Rich.
Video,
Let's hope Powell doesn't confuse the markets with his words.
Right. Like we could go in and have an FOMC statement. Like here's what I think might happen is I think that there might be something about QE in the meeting because they knew this
YouTube
repo
ace
thing was
trades,
going on.
Swabbies, don't forget to like and subscribe, make a comment, and let's make Seth rich.
Make Seth rich. I wish. No, probably not from that video, but it is trending a little bit better than some of my other videos, which is really good. Yeah, they could go in. I think that, because the repo thing happened yesterday, they're absolutely going to discuss it. And they could put something about it in the statement. So that's what I'm kind of thinking is they're going to put something about the
YouTube
repo.
algo lover, ZN obviously, buyers made the break, 129, 215. Typically we'd get a pullback to buy in order to join the squeeze up thinking face.
Oh, you think so? You think we'll get a stronger sell? I did buy up into it when it started to become clear that they were going to push it. And I tell you what, it was so hard to hold on to. Oh my gosh. What a frustrating trade. But yeah, what happens if they come in and they say, we're going to do QE?
And we all know Trump is standing by for 2 p.m. Tweet ready.
Yeah. What happens if they say, oh, we're going to do QE or we need a permanent repo facility or something like that? And then Powell comes out and he's like, well, this is still like a mid-cycle adjustment. you know? So this could be a ride. This could be a ride. So yeah, please like and subscribe. Check out the Patreon. Where's Bitcoin? We need to go and post those charts. There it is right there. Bitcoin kind of down. It's doing interesting stuff. The altcoins were up yesterday. So anyways, so if you haven't checked out the Patreon, do that. Give the video a like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Bell icon helps you find our channel when we go live much more easily so that you can join us every day. And that's it. I will see you guys in, 2.5 hours. All right. And in the meantime,
YouTube, Gary
stay
Rich,
profitable.
to each his own on preference of trading platform to use.
Yeah, totally. I want, go and comment. It helps the video. And even if it's totally against what I'm saying or arguing with me or whatever, it's totally cool. Like I was made that subject specifically to bait people into discussing it. So have at it. All right. I'm really going this time. Stay profitable.